Alright gamers, today it's time to go over the first expansion to Darkworld, which is Village of Fear. Let's check it out. Alright, so looking at the Village of Fear, again, look at this set. I mean, amazing. Looks like a toy set, right? Some of these pieces are really hard plastic there. So it looks like it just is a beautiful set here. I'm not going to go over a lot of things I went over in the base game. I'm just going to point out the ones that are here in the expansion. First off, I will show you our new group of heroes. Of course, the weapons are optional. Of course, they come on those dial bases there. Each hero will, of course, start off at 8, like the last time. They will also each get 3 cards, like last time. They'll get additional cards when they kill off villains, as well as coins. And of course the cards are hit or miss again. Instead of the chalice that tells you who goes first, now you got a stone monument here, and the colors denote who will be going first. So if I was to shake it up, then it would be red going first, green going second, yellow, blue in third, and then finally the warlord, who is our main villain right there. And of course he is just sitting up enjoying himself in his castle right there. Alright, so in Village of Fear, the new bad guys you will be fighting are people like the Wolf, who basically is going to be roaming the streets. You can defeat him, but he always comes back. Same thing with the carrion bird, who is up there. He can also come loose from that castle there. That's not just a fixture. That's actually a bird that can come loose. And he can also attack at times. Also, he'll be planting himself. If you look into each one of these, there's little holes at the top of each one. He can actually come in. There's some over here and here. He can actually come in and land, fly and land on one of these buildings. When he is on one of those buildings, that hero may not enter the building. Let's see, other things that you have. You can be, they have were-rats. Were-rats and cobrans. Ooh, very sinister looking people there. We also have hobgoblins and minotaurs who look really awesome. Again, the sculpts for these are just incredible. And finally, we have the lurker, who I'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, another just incredible sculpt there. The dice are the same that you'll be using in the game. Of course, 2 die when you have a regular weapon. You add a 3rd die when you get one of the golden weapons. And there are a few new gold weapons here that you can have in this game. Of course, gold weapons will be found randomly inside buildings and whatnot. If you look over here, there's items right there that show you, hey, it's either a weapon or a key. You're going to need a gold key to get into the warlord's castle at the end. You're going to put them on these little holes once all 4 players are there. That's how they can enter into the castle. Now, where are gold keys? Like I said, the warlord can choose to place them there and there, but they may also be inside buildings. If you look, whoa, there's a gold key. All right, so the things you're trying to do, of course, you're trying to kill monsters off. You're trying to find, it's optional, but you probably want some extra golden weapons that you can replace on your character, just like in the old one. Replace it with a golden weapon and now roll 3 die. Or you definitely want to find the keys to get in. Also, you're looking for 2 characters here, the Miller and the Mayor. They're the only ones in this Village of Fear who have survived the deadly warlord's grasp. And so you have to find them. Of course, the Miller is up here in the mill. Dude, there he is. Let me show him. He'll come with some healing potion as well and 5 extra bonus points. The Mayor comes with healing, 5 extra bonus points. And each one of these, and by the way, the Mayor is up here at the top tower there. You can just take it right off. And there's our Mayor. Also, when you have either the Mayor or the Miller, they also let you carry an extra magic item. Remember in the first base game review, I told you can only have up to 2 magic items at one time, or 2 items, period. If you have the Miller or the Mayor, you actually get an extra item to hold in your deck. Now, again, I have to go over how detailed this whole place is, what the sculpts look like, what the little details, like this little dragon piece fits on there. If you can see it in there. That's one of the pieces you have to put together. It takes a while to put this thing together. Also, this little sign there you had to put in there. I mean, just so cool. Anyway, other differences in the game. Once you get knocked out, of course, you will go back to the beginning right here. Here is the healing fountain, which takes an entire player's turn. So if a player gets knocked out, they'll return it to 1. If they want to get all the way to 8, they can spend 1 whole turn there and heal themselves. But if you see this, you have little tunnels here. And there are actually little tunnels all around the board. Now, what do those tunnels mean? Well, those are the caves, where the little were-rats live. And so what you're doing is you're scavenging around in there, and you got to go through these use one of these tunnel cards. Now you shuffle them randomly, and they can mean different things. For instance, if you have a little question mark, that means you got lost. You lose the rest of your turn because you're lost in the tunnels. If you got one of these, you'll have to fight 1 or maybe 2 were-rats, which is always bad. These were-rats you do not get to keep once you defeat them because they do regenerate. So there could be were-rats in there. Also, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, which means you could go to any one of those open spaces. This is mainly shortcuts to get you around the board. Maybe even you're avoiding fighting the wolf because he is very dangerous to fight. And then finally, you have one that has a little torch here. That is the were-rat's cave. Now, if you make it to the were-rat's cave, there's always 2 were-rats there, and I put them all there, but that's not how they're going to be. There's usually only 2 there, and you would fight them. Now, when they fight there, you may give that hero a golden key or a golden weapon, whichever they don't possess. If they already have both, then you don't have to give them anything. But finding the were-rat's cave is always beneficial to the hero. They can find one or the other there. The other one, they may want to search around the city here and find out. Now, one other item before you fight the big warlord there, at the end of everyone's turn, you're going to have to pick an event card. Now, event cards can mean different things and let you do different abilities. Like, some have the wings, some have the healing potion, some have the whip that you can use to control or get rid of the carrion and the wolf. So what do some of these other cards mean? Well, one of these, like this means, first off, let's look at this one. I guess I just put this one up first. This one means you get to look at one of the warlord's deck cards to see if you can identify his weakness. And I'll get to those in a minute. But let's see, other ones. Oh, you can find the were-rat's cave. That's nice. This person can, if they get that one, that's really bad. That one increases the dial on the warlord. If you look up at the warlord, behind him is a dial. And on the dial, it starts at 5. Every time he knocks a hero unconscious, his dial will move up. So for instance, if you found that card, I get to move him up to, well, not a 9, but a 6. Then maybe a 7, then I knock someone else up. So the dial moves around and the warlord can get stronger. So if you do not defeat the warlord in time, the warlord can be up to his maximum 9 strength when you find him. Now, going back to the cards, if you get something like this, that's really bad. That means you have to lose one of your hit or miss cards. And this one says you can trade weapons, golden weapons with someone else. I don't know why you'd want to do that. It's all the same hits. If this one's pretty bad. The carrion attacks you if you have that. And I think that's it. The rest of them are kind of self-explanatory. But what about the warlord's weakness cards? Well, the warlord has these cards. You will shuffle them up. You will choose one if you're playing the warlord, and that represents your potential weakness or strength. Now, as the players go through the deck, the longer through the game, they may be able to determine what your weakness is. But here's your options. First off, you get the warlord card, you have no weakness. Okay, you are strong. If you have the carrion bird, that means, unbeknownst to the heroes, the bird will attack them prior to them attacking you, the warlord. So this actually gives you some bonus hits, bonus attacks on that hero. Now the rest of them are all going to be against you. There are certain gold weapons that can hurt you, meaning if you pick this card randomly, then that is the weapon. If the hero that's holding that particular weapon gets to roll not 3, but 4 dice because they have your secret weakness there. So that's kind of cool too. Of course, you have to beat the number that is represented on the dial at the time. You can do that with extra additional hit cards if necessary, or if you have the weakness weapon, you can really hit them there. Now, that's defeating the warlord. There's one other cool thing about this game I have yet to mention. We haven't talked about the lurker, right? What does he do? Well, he actually stays by the drawbridge. here, if you can see this. And you have to do a test of wheels when facing the lurker. You can't see him. He's in the shadows. He's invisible. And so your hero will basically, one by one, move up and down across this board trying to get to the castle entrance. Behind you, behind the castle walls, the person playing the warlord is going to have this contraption, which is basically the drawbridge set up again, except here's your starting point where the red marker is. So the lurker is going to start there, and he's going to silently move on that same drawbridge, just a smaller scale drawbridge. Now, the thing is, as a lurker, you cannot move on the same space as the hero. You must allow the hero to knock into you. If they run into you, you have defeated that hero. They have to go back to the beginning of the drawbridge and try again on their next action. But if they get past you, then the heroes have won, and your invisibility is now gone. And so now you'll move the big lurker piece around the real board, and he can go around causing some major league havoc. So just like in the old game, of course, the first person to defeat the warlord will get 5 bonus points. The miller and the mayor are worth 5. Of course, any enemies that you kill, you'll also get these gold coins, and whatever the value of those is, you will add those up as well and add up the people you killed, and the person with the most points wins. Now, of course, if the warlord can knock all 4 of you out while you're fighting him in his castle, then he wins. And that is Village of Fear. All right, so final thoughts. What do I think of Darkworld, Village of Fear? I already told you, I'd already played Darkworld, and I loved it. I knew when I got it, I was going to love it. And I'd already had fun just playing the base game. But then I heard there were expansions. I was like, ugh, I gotta get these expansions, right? And the first one to look at was Village of Fear. Now, looking for this expansion, it's a little hard to find, but I did track it down for actually really decent price. And when I got it in, I set it up, and it was massive. This thing takes forever to set up. It's kind of hard at times to get those little, because even though the village looks beautiful, a lot of that's paper, cardboard, folded and snapping together with other pieces. And the overall product looks great, but it takes forever to set up. I mean, the first base game does take a while too, but not half the time of Village of Fear, because you're having to unfold, snap those little pieces, plastic pieces onto the folding things just right to get everything to fit. But when it comes together, man, it looks incredible. Now, when I first heard about the lurker, the guy who's invisible, I said, that's too easy for the lurker to get them. The lurker's always going to capture them, right? No, actually the first time we played it, one got right through and just blew up the whole lurker invisibility thing. So it's not as easy to catch or it's not as hard as you think it would be. Because remember, they can't see you. You can see them, but you cannot go on their square. Only they have to come to you, and you have to move. So it's kind of a little bit of a little dance where they can, by accident, there was a few times they almost moved to me that first time we ever played. Other things I like about the game, the little carrion, the eagle, we call it the vulture when we play. The vulture's really cool. The wolf's really cool. This is a really hard game though, because every time you kill someone as the warlord, you just keep getting powerful and more powerful and more powerful. And when you get to 9, you are a hard kill, man. In fact, a lot of those creatures like the cobran, the hobgoblins, the minotaurs, they can be very powerful. The wolf's a 6, for crying out loud, and so is the lurker. And so people, they're just throwing down those hit cards all the time, and they're getting beat up. I mean, my nephews and I played the expansion because they were just so into Darkworld, and they loved the expansion better, a little bit better, I think. The whole time they're just going, this is so cool. This is so cool. Instead of the chalice, you shake up, you get the cross to shake up. I like that. I mean, it doesn't matter really who goes first, but it does stop that argument of, I want to go first this time. Finding if there's a secret weapon or a strength to the warlord is really cool. Finding golden keys, finding weapons again. Again, all of these aspects are really nice. The board game looks top notch. And it's just it's an eye pleaser, man. It's an eye pleaser. Do these type of games work for adults? It depends. If you're someone like me, yes, definitely. I think it's really good. Does it add to the game? Well, actually, this shouldn't be called an expansion because it's really a standalone game. You can buy this game and play it on its own. You don't need the base game. They say if you want to combine the two, you can combine them together. And this is like the prequel. This one goes first. And I agree with that. You'd probably pay this one first and then the main base game. But you can have it on its own and play it on its own, and I can see it being a very fun game. Now, there's not many places you could hide, you know, the weapons or the keys, but still, like I said, you won't be playing with this expansion every time. You'll probably bring it out every once in a while, but still, it is a great game. Again, I really love this game. Should you get this game? Probably not. It's way too expensive now. Like I said, I just had the best deals at the right time. I found a guy who had the expansions and he gave them to me for a great, great, great deal. And I would never buy them at what I'm seeing the prices online now. But I'm super glad I have them because they are really cool. Are they necessary? Do they enhance the play of the base game? Absolutely not. Absolutely. Like I said, it's its own separate game. So you really don't need this. Don't think you're missing out. If what you saw pleases you, you're like, ooh, I really, really like the pieces of this game. Remember, it's going to take a long time to put together. It does add some flavor, some character to it. You can play with any of the pieces. The games are totally interchangeable. And but it's just really, really awesome. Of course, it's probably harder than the original game. And in my opinion, this one's probably the hardest one of all the Darkworld games. But that is for another time. Until next time, gamers, game on!